Welcome! The purpose of this video is to give a quick overview of the lore and story of the Carnivores games. If you have clicked on this video, I am sure you are already aware of what Carnivores is. However, should you not be, Carnivores is a series of hunting games focused on hunting dinosaurs on an alien planet. More on that later. The grungy retro aesthetic and surprisingly complex mechanics for a game of its time has led Carnivores to develop a small but active fanbase, leading to the game still being modded and talked about to this day. Now, who am I to make such a video? Besides having been a fan of the series for about 15 years now, I am also a modder. Next to my own still in development mods, Carnivores Utgard and Antediluvian, I have helped create dinosaur models for mods such as Fallen Kings, Enchanted, Cordelia, Danger Grounds and more. The history of the Carnivores games starts with the Ukrainian development studio Action Forms in 1998. After the release of their Doom-inspired horror shooter Chasm the Rift, the studio started work on something wholly original. A hunting game where instead of just peaceful deer, your quarry may just hunt you right back. Carnivores, a dinosaur hunter. A sequel, Carnivores 2, the following year, and the third game, Carnivores Ice Age, in 2001, make up the original trilogy of games. A fourth game, Carnivores Cityscape, was then released by successor studio Sunstorm Interactive in 2002. While technically belonging to the series, it heavily differs from the three originals in both style and gameplay, having the player go up against hordes of hyper-aggressive, more time-accurate dinosaurs in an alien city. After the unfortunate failure of Cityscape, the series went into hibernation until 2010 and 2011, when a mobile port of Carnivores 2 and Ice Age respectively released. While it has been abandoned for a few years now, it still enjoys quite the popularity, being played by many around the world, and likely being what introduced you to the series if you are under 25 years old. They also established somewhat of an alternate timeline, featuring dinosaur species that also appeared in Carnivores Cityscape, yet with different designs and behaviors. From 2013 to 2021, a rebooted Carnivores HD game, not set in the original timeline as the actual original games, was released by multiple development studios and re-released over the years. Despite the higher graphical fidelity, it has failed to garner as big of a fan base because of its watered-down mechanics, limited gameplay, and lacking visual style compared to the originals. Despite what it may seem, Carnivores is not actually set during the Mesozoic of Earth, but rather the far future of the 23rd century on another planet. FMMUV-32, named after the scouting ship FMMUV that discovered it, is a large young planet with high geological activity and the actual setting of most of the Carnivores games. While technically hospitable thanks to breathable air and drinkable water, colonization efforts failed due to the rather dangerous fauna, consisting of what superficially looks like Earth dinosaurs. I will go further into detail on the animals during a later segment. Despite the failure of human colonization, it seems like there was a time when there actually was sapient life on the planet. Ruined architecture litters the planet, from the pyramids of Shmu Hadron, the Vengar Fjord's monolith, the stone circle at Fort Siskin and others are all attributed to what are called the Ancients. What the Ancients were, how they may have lived, and most mysteriously of all, how they disappeared are also yet unsolved. One ruin, simply called the Ancient Temple, hides an even more ominous secret. Rarely a distorted, disembodied voice may be heard echoing throughout the structure. This is only one of the several possibly supernatural occurrences haunting the planet. After being bought by an emerging company by the name of Dino Hunt Corp, or DHC as I will be calling it from now on, several hunting reserves were established throughout FMMUV-32. After all, what greater quarry is there to hunt than the mighty dinosaur? While it is often portrayed as a rather scummy company by later mods, the original games show a more neutral view on DHC. While big game hunting in itself is a rather terrible sport, DHC doesn't go out of the way to do anything worse than that. In fact, the only man-made buildings we see throughout the games seem to be remnants of the original colonization efforts, such as the rather unfortunate Fort Siskin that was destroyed by a raging tyrannosaur, or the Delpheus Hells archaeology outpost. After an unknown amount of time, with interest in the hunting tools waning, DHC decides to organize an advertisement project in the form of a traveling zoo, taking on board several of the more strange species of dinosaurs and traveling to different Earth colonies throughout space. Things, however, go wrong, and the ship carrying the dinosaurs inevitably crashes near Crater City, an Earth colony, where the dinosaurs wreak havoc. Thanks to the help of armed agents, the dinosaurs were luckily contained. Yet still, the failure of this marketing stunt likely left DHC in ruin. While there is no official answer to what happened to it afterwards, many mods deal with this concept in quite interesting ways. Since at least the mid-2000s, Carnivores has had an active modding base that, in the absence of any new official content, has instead taken it into their own hands to continue the series. While of course all the mechanical advancements such as aquatic animals, pack hunting and area-specific huntables are certainly the main point of interest, here I rather want to highlight some of the lore concepts the fanbase has come up with over the years. Before I do so, however, a short disclaimer. There is no such thing as a unified canon besides the official games anymore, and even those are all a bit shaky with one another. An attempt was made to unify all the major mods into a single timeline during the late 2010s, yet this simply was not feasible and resulted in a year-long canon war debate. While some mods may reference each other, technically speaking, everything and nothing can be canon with one another. It simply depends on the individual fan to create their own timeline out of all the cool fan lore there is. This is also why I won't be going over any specific mods unless they bring up larger points of community lore. Starting off referencing a specific mod actually, the concept of sectors has been integral to modern Carnivores modding. The idea was first introduced with the godfather of all mods, Carnivores Triassic. It sees the planet of FMMUV-32 partitioned into sectors, roughly corresponding to the flora and fauna living within it. The original games then would take place in the Central and Arctic sector each, with Triassic being set within the aptly named Triassic sector. This has opened the door for many later mods to follow in Triassic's footsteps, creating new sectors for their own creatures to inhabit. Be it the bug-infested Eos sector, the tropical archipelago sector, or the far-off islands of Primarchia, many mods now take place in their own distinct sector regions of the planet. While the original games introduced the concept of the fauna of FMMUV-32 being aliens, only through fan lore has that concept been expanded more. Theoretically, none of the animals you face in the games are actual dinosaurs, but merely convergently evolved aliens that sort of resemble their Earth counterparts. These aliens generally follow not the scientifically modern conception of Earth dinosaurs, but rather resemble outlandish retro depictions of them. Think of them sort of like what you'd see in a 60s sci-fi film, rather than a modern documentary. While the works of Zdeněk Burian are often mentioned as the main inspiration to the Carnivores animals, this is only half correct. His art was certainly a major inspiration on the designs of the alien dinos. More contemporary depictions were also used. Those include, of course, Jurassic Park's Tyrannosaurus and Velociraptor, but also documentaries and toys from the 90s and earlier. This has led the fan community to use a wide variety of inspirations, from Walking with Dinosaurs Diplodocus over John Sibek's Baryonyx, Charles Knight's Agathormus to the Jurassic Park Operation Genesis Albertosaurus. Also used have been less natural influences, which often come through in the more sci-fi oriented part of a franchise. While Mutants had been, rather sloppily so, already officially introduced via the reboots, Triassic's genetic abomination, the Gojirasaurus, was the first foray into truly monstrous dinosaurs. This giant radioactive beast, well technically based on a dubious coelophysoid from Earth, is rather obviously a nod to Godzilla. It was introduced not just as a dangerous animal, but a plot-relevant monster causing local extinctions and causing DHC a lot of effort to get rid of. This is now known as the Gojirasaurus incident, which is often referenced by other mods. After its introduction and the more direct malicious acts of DHC it brought with it, many more monstrous creatures and strange phenomena started popping up in mods. Thunderbird, Metalodon, and the like established that FMMUV-32 was not just home to dinosaurs, but also other strange and even supernatural beings. While several mods explored this side of the series further, I want to highlight a side effect of it. Cryptids. Carnivores has had cryptids for nearly as long as it existed as a series, starting all the way back in the year 2000 with the rumored Seismosaurus, which was said to be a secret unlockable dinosaur in the first Carnivores game. Seismosaurus has since appeared in several mods over the years, serving as a nice bonus huntable for many Carnivores 1 themed mods. Around the same time, rumors of a strange sea monster started popping up, relating to an image only found on Carnivores 1's promotional material. This photo showed a map not featured in the finished game, but also a weird dark shape within the water. If this was actually hinting towards potential aquatic beasts is unlikely, but especially considering what followed it, maybe not impossible. There are two cryptids that have risen to popularity in recent years, the Delpheus Hills Ghoul and the Vengar Fjords Robot, both named after the maps they supposedly roam. The Ghoul, the more famous of the two, appears as a large green humanoid beast with quills running down its back. It also bears a notable resemblance to the Time Strikers, time-traveling aliens originating in Chasm the Rift, the game action forms made before developing Carnivores. There's a long-standing theory that the Ghoul may just be a Time Striker, somehow connecting the two game series together. Hello, post-editing Nova here, really quickly chiming in and saying that there is actually a piece of evidence that hints towards Chasm the Rift being canon to Carnivores. There was once a developer interview where one of the devs said that Chasm is accurate and canon to Carnivores, and that the Time Strikers may be the Ancients, and that is a bit contentious because it wasn't really in an official context, and none of the other developers have said anything about it, so maybe the Ancients are Time Strikers, and thusly the Ghoul might be a Time Striker and an Ancient. Maybe, maybe not. We don't really know. So make of that what you will. Others say the Ghoul was merely made up by fans, and that is just a repainted Yeti, just like many other supposed cryptids. I will, however, not pass judgment on whether the Ghoul or the robot are real. That is for you to decide, and not the purpose of this video. Said robot, while seemingly having already been reported since at least the early 2010s, only became very popular recently in 2025. Looking like a strange dinosaurian android with guns for arms and a gaping black maw, it has only been seen to spawn along with Spinosaurus on the map Vengar Fjords. People postulate it may be a code remnant of a scrapped robot enemy or even ally, now only appearing under special circumstances. While there is also doubt on whether the robot is actually real or not, several prominent figures in the Carnivores fandom have stated to either recall hearing about it from years back or to even have seen it with their own eyes. Please keep in mind that both of these cryptids also have mods made about them though, with the robot mod having been developed partially by myself. These mods are not to be confused with the original cryptids, but should rather be seen as interpretations of the stories. While I could dive into loads of detail on each fact I have given here, the point of this video was rather to give a basic overview of the Carnivores series, to help you all out there to create new lore based on what has been provided through nearly 30 years of game history. Carnivores means a lot to me, and has so for a long time, and I hope you too will be able to find joy within it. Please, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to my channel and giving me a comment on what you think of the Carnivores game and its lore. I'm only just starting out my channel as I speak, and this is actually my first voice recorded video, so there is much more you can expect to come from me, hopefully with better mic quality. Whatever the case, I wish you a very pleasant day and hope to see you during my next presentation. Goodbye.